What makes a restaurant fancy? What is your criteria for an upscale meal and is it worth it? We're eating good, now on the Brew.
What makes a restaurant fancy? Joel, you enjoy the fancy restaurants?
I do. I actually like all kinds of restaurants. I like little hole-in-the-wall restaurants where you can get like mom and pop food, and I like really fancy ones that you dress up sometimes and you have like really fancy wine. So what makes a restaurant fancy? It's more than just the price, and it's more than the decor and the service. I saw an interview with a chef, and a famous chef on TV, and he said that one of the things you look at when you go to a restaurant is you go to the bathroom and see how the upkeep is in the restroom. And he was like, that's a great indicator about how fancy a restaurant you're in. And that's true. I've never thought of it that way, but that's exactly right.
That's a really good tip. Interesting. Although I'm like, I don't need a restroom attendant. I'm down with it. We don't need it. I can get my own paper towel, thank you. A restroom attendant does not make a restaurant fancy, but that's a very good point. All right, well, here's mine. I have a couple. First off, when they got things in a menu that I can't pronounce. If I don't know what it is, steak shaking your balls or whatever, and then another thing where you sit down at the table and you got like 20 forks. You got more forks I know I could possibly do with. And the last one, look at the way I'm dressed. Clearly, I don't do fancy restaurants all the time because there's a lot of them where you can't wear caps and jerseys. Yes, I know I don't need to be wearing a cap and jersey in a fancy restaurant, but hey, that's how I dress. That's what makes me happy. Now, will dress up every once in a while and go to a fancy restaurant when it's appropriate, and I will actually, if I have to, I'll actually put a sport coat on and stuff, but not my favorite thing, so hey, there you go.
How do you feel about, okay, so maybe not suit and tie, but how do you feel about business casual?
I'll do a polo shirt, as long as I know going in. If you tell me ahead of time, great. But if you drop it on me, we're already on the way. I'm going to be in like a baseball jersey like I am now, or a hockey jersey. Like, I'm already going to be dressed down like a slob with a cap backwards. So you got to like prime me for that ahead of time. But yeah, I'll go in. Like, I enjoy a good steakhouse, a place with a really good steak. I don't enjoy the prices, but yeah, good meal like that. Well, our viewers, you have a lot of suggestions as to what do you think makes a fancy restaurant. Hey, let's find out what's on your mind. Rock Guitarist says plaid pants and Kaiser rolls. Clearly talking about a fancy restaurant in Florida. Nick says a swimsuit party. Thrill Matt Treats sends a picture of a spork, so he's thinking Taco Bell fancy, maybe a Taco Bell cantina. Getting on to real answers though. Art says tiny portions, and Rudy says the atmosphere, interior, the prices, and mostly the reputation. Ooh, reputation. That's actually something based on reviews or restaurateurs, or foodies. Reputation.
Reputation's big. If you guys utilize Yelp, or if you utilize even Instagram and go on there and click on their location, I do that a lot before I decide where I'm going to eat, because that'll help reputation. Those are honest people putting, unless it's directly from the restaurant. You're seeing most of the time just people there on their lunch break, or just people in town for a little while. This is what it really looks like, And if they don't like it, they're probably not going to post it.
Yeah, I agree with that 100%. Influencers, when I see influencers in your restaurant doing the dancing videos, those do nothing for me. They're fake. 9 times out of 10, the influencers have been brought in by the restaurant. The influencers don't do it, but real Yelp reviews, or if you go on Instagram and see people actually had a meal in that restaurant, show me that awesome steak. Show me the kid actually, knocking over daddy's wine or something on the table. Show me the real experience. You will sell me far more than an influencer. And that's what I want to see, because you know what? Some of like regular people's pictures, like you and I post, like some of your foodie pictures you post, when that steak looks good or I find a crazy cocktail or a sandwich, I'm there, I'm in, you sold me, you got me.
Yep, it's real simple stuff.
More comments, like Christina, who says, for a restaurant to be fancy, exceptional service and ambiance are the key. Ooh, ambiance. All right, now that's something too, because that comes down like the decor. I guess you're not going to like see TVs all over all the walls or sports jerseys, unfortunately. It's not a sports bar, but maybe some nice lace and a linen tablecloth.
Yeah, and dim lights. If you want it to be a good date night spot, that's probably when it goes into ambiance. Ambiance and decor go hand in hand, but yeah, that's a good answer.
I could ask you this. Do you ever go to some restaurants and the lights are so dim you can't read the menu? You got to take your smartphone out and you're like using your cell phone camera's light to try to read the menu because it's so dim. Like that drives us. That's a little too dim. I'm like, what are you trying to hide? That's not ambiance. That's not fancy. That's just damn dark.
You know what's funny is there's a couple of places in town that are like that. I'm not going to name them on here because I don't want to give them any business, but there's a couple places here in town that are like that, and they're sports bars. where people are just getting mozzarella sticks or some chicken wings, and then it's so dim, and you're like, I just want like a $7 order of something. I don't even need anything fancy.
Yeah, no. I mean, it's cool if you're watching a game, I guess, and it makes the TV glow. But no, outside that, turn your damn lights up. Come on, that's just not good. Diane says, white cloth tablecloth, white cloth napkins, candles, music, the best of the best, and love all around. And finally, Starman says, are there cloth napkins on the table? Does the place require a reservation? Is there foie gras on the menu? The biggest, is it out of my price range? Ooh, cloth napkins, foie gras, and price range. Couple of things to unpack on that one.
Couple of things that are all kind of true, so can't really disagree with them. Probably not the best indicators, but still true answers.
Yeah, a place requires a reservation too. Yeah, you know, especially if you try doing that like around, like, say, Valentine's Day or like a big holiday or something like that. Yeah, I guess if you can't get a reservation for like 6 months, you know, you at least found maybe not a fancy restaurant, but a hot restaurant.
Yeah, or you know, I mean, like, there's places here during big events like the Super Bowl, you can't go to any restaurant. Like, everything is full. It's all reserved everywhere. But it'll be like, you know, big events kind of determine that. I mean, Vegas is also a very unique, like, variable city. So, I don't know. What do you think about that?
Yeah, exactly right. Same here in the New York City area. The big events, like, yeah, your hot places are going to be totally already booked up near Christmas time in New York City. You know, the really big fancy restaurants that have like a special Christmas meal or a prefix menu, like, they're totally going to be booked up, right? So yeah, you totally nailed that. So big events, yeah, that's a whole nother story. But hey, Joel, you know how you make sure you don't miss a big event right here in the channel? By clicking that like or subscribe button for all the fun here on the Jersey Joe 50 YouTube channel. Look at my promo brain working off the cuff, live right here again. Big events, yeah.
Man, how did you come up with that one?
I don't know. The mind's always ticking here, but it's been a while since I've done some fine dining. For me, it's more of like maybe once or twice a year. I'm a simple guy. I don't need fine dining on a regular basis, but I do need a really good steak every once in a while. That works for me.
Yeah, like birthday. I think, yeah, the last time I went to a really nice place was on my birthday, and that's a perfect occasion. Anniversaries, yeah, certain occasions for sure.
And let's not forget, too, a really fancy restaurant for me is also a fancy cocktail. Show me a cool cocktail I can't get the local sports bar down the street. If your restaurant's got a great cocktail, hey, I'll pay the $20 for it. That's fancy in my book.
Hey, if you got Diablo sauce, it's fancy enough in my book.
Oh, yeah, that's right. Dropped off at your door in a brown paper bag with someone wanting a tip. Yeah, there you go. All right, well, hey, thanks for all your great answers. This is a good one, Jersey Joe, and I am saying bon appetit, and we'll see you next time, I hope.
Take a business class ride on Canada's Via Rail with Jersey Joe and Ion. Is the food and service worth the upgrade? Streaming now on Kicking Back with Jersey Joe.